Sharp Game here, coming at you with another episode from ChooseYourRelationships.com off of Love Can't Wait, which can be found on Amazon.com. And you know, there's a lot of guys out here that think that if they venture out and expand their horizon and start to date other women from other nationalities or other races, that somehow they'll be well off and live happily ever after in a White House with a picket fence around it. And I hate to break it to you, but that's probably not gonna happen for most guys. And the reason why that is because all women are the same. I'm going to say that again. All women are the same at the core. Now, I know some people are going to say, oh, come on, Sharp Game. I mean, my girl, she speaks Spanish. She speaks Korean, Japanese, Chinese, Arabic. You know, she has long hair, curly hair. She's from a different culture. She's from a different country. You know, there's a lot of things that a lot of guys are gonna say. But if you strip all that away, forget about the hair, forget about the culture, forget about the language, forget about all that superficial stuff, forget about the dating, forget about how she dressed, forget about all the superficial stuff. You look at her at the core. She has a face, she has a breast, she has a butt, she has legs, she has arms, she has hands. And when she comes out of her mother's womb, that's when the training begins. That's when the education begins. And all of that is based on the environment. And the environment could be, it's the country, the city, the village, the community, the parents, however and wherever she grew up at. And that has a lot to do with how people think. And today, especially, has to do with the media, the mainstream media, especially if you live in the quote first world countries or anywhere in the Western world or any of the Western colonies, I should say. And that has a lot to do with how women think. But at the core of every woman, see, you have to understand that women function based on the environment, especially in the United States of America. See, you have to keep in mind, take this to your grave. If you don't remember anything else I say in this video, take this to your grave. All behavior is based on consequences. And the environment has a lot to do with that, because the environment influences how people act and behave and how they think. So take that to your grave. If you don't remember anything else that I say, remember that all behavior is based on consequences, and the environment influences how people think and behave. And a lot of this has to do with the economic status and financial status and the position that a lot of people have, especially if people live in cities or major cities or even smaller cities. You know, because a lot of these women, especially today, you know, there's this thing where, kind of a myth, that somehow a lot of women are loyal to the men. You know, they they stick with the man, and they would not dare date out of their group or their community or their village or or out of their nationality, and nothing can be further from the truth. These women out here, these other groups of women from these other countries or other cultures outside of black and white, these other women are not loyal to these men. Not at all. I don't know how this came about, but I haven't seen it happen like that. Now, there's a small percentage, a very small percentage of women that they're not going to leave that trailer park or that village or that, small town where she lives. They're never going to date any other guy that's completely different from them. But those numbers are far in between. That's not the average woman out here in any society, because it's like that's just not the nature of women. This is why I say it doesn't matter who you are as a man. Wherever you go, there's some woman that's going to flock to you. You can get a woman anywhere you go on this planet. Doesn't matter how horrible you think you are, but you can get a woman anywhere on this planet. It's just like that. So plus you got a lot of women today, especially, that work these corporate jobs, and when the economy starts to dip, and when a lot of these women, a lot of these women are divorced now. And then a lot of women, you got the younger girls that are working these jobs, and they want to get out and experience something new, experience something different, experience something that they've never experienced before. Because a lot of younger women like adventure. They like have fun, get out there and experience something that they've never done before. And what happens is a lot of times, the way they were raised and the decisions that they make, it ain't aligned together in most cases. Because when they start working these jobs, it's a lot of these guys that have pretty decent positions, or they might be in management or some leadership position. And a lot of these women be choosing. You got white women are choosing, you got Latin women choosing, Asian women they're choosing. So let's say if you're a non-white guy in any form of leadership position, it don't even got to be a leadership position. You can be in a position that's just above most women. A lot of these women gonna be like, hey, I know you're in the black women and everything, but hey, I'm available for coffee or lunch. They're gonna be choosing. They're gonna be putting their bids in, and that's just how it is. Really, that's just how it is. A lot of women see their friends or look at television or listen to, they see things or see other women doing things. And after a while, they be like, hey, I wonder how it would be, to have the same or similar experience. And, that's just how that should take off. All of a sudden, she goes on a coffee break or a lunch break with a guy, and it just takes off just like that sometimes. You just never know, But a lot of times, that ain't got nothing that don't have anything to do with just different kinds of women. That's just women across the board. See, the mistake that a lot of guys make, they think just because if they date another woman of another nationality, because they had bad experiences with black women, or they think somehow they're gonna be well off. But I'm here to tell you that's not the case. Because in most cases, that has a lot to do with you more than anybody else. It has a lot to do with you more than the woman. And if you approach dating other groups of women from that standpoint, the odds of you being successful with other groups of women is very highly unlikely. Because a lot of these other women, they can be just as scandalous as black women that I've found. And I got my wake-up call when I went to Japan and started going to these other countries and visiting these other countries. These women can be just as vicious or have more attitude as black women, or any other women for that matter. The reason why a lot of these women, the reason why you see Elizabeth and Nancy and Mariah and what these other groups of women, the reason why they so soft and so kind and smiling all the time, the reason why they're like that, because the guys keep them in check. See, the guys are in control of the resources, or they're attached to the resources more than the women, and that keeps women in check. That's why Becky's so soft and so nice and so polite. And trust me, if that's why Nancy's so nice to Jose. Trust me, if Jose didn't have control of most of the resources, Nancy wouldn't be so nice. She'd be talking shit just like Tasha talked shit to Brian. That's how it is. In most cases, these women aren't like this. These women aren't so nice just because they have good morals. Almost nobody's doing that shit. Nobody acts a certain way just because of good morals. No, people act a certain type of way because they have to, because there's some type of consequences involved that's attached to that behavior. That's what it's really all about. So whenever you start to venture out and talk to these other women, just keep that in mind. It don't really got nothing to do with you as a man in most cases. But you still should become the best person you should be. No doubt about it. That helps. But just keep in mind that the person that has control of the resources is a person that usually wins. Now some of these guys today, like I said earlier, they're having a lot of financial problems. A lot of people are being deported. So when that happens, because the struggle is real out here in these streets. So when that happens, a lot of these women, they start getting nervous. And so, the bills keep coming in, and a lot of these women got kids, and they ain't that loyal like that. So they be like, hey, these other guys is starting to look a little good over here. And they're doing they're doing better than me in most cases. So a lot of these women, they all that being loyal to the community, being loyal to my people. Hey, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't leaving my people, but hey, I got to see what's going on elsewhere with this other guy. And most of the time, those guys are at the job. And these guys are presentable to their friends. They can show them off in front of their friends, and especially if he got a good job title. That sounds nice, because job titles sounds nice to a lot of women. If you tell a woman, "Hey, I'm an engineer," he's an engineer, or he's a loan officer or banker, he's an attorney. That stuff sounds nice to women. So, a woman will kind of have a hard time not dating a guy with those titles, regardless of his nationality. She'll have a hard time turning him down, or not taking a date with him, or a coffee break or lunch break or anything. So the more guys you see in these groups that have financial problems, or become more guys get deported, you're gonna see a lot of these other groups of women that's gonna be putting their bid in. They're gonna be campaigning, no doubt about it. I see it today. Every once in a while, I have one woman that, out of the blue, she'll throw me a bone. She'll make a little subtle move or whatever. And sometimes I'm out and about. I don't really make nothing of it, really. So sometimes I get caught off guard. But, it's all good. I mean, I understand the nature of women. Women like being around the movers and shakers. And it ain't got nothing to do with whether you black, you white, what kind of language you speak, or how you grew up. Nobody cares about that. There's a small group of women that think like that when they're out and about. But those are not the average. And most women don't care about race and nationality and all that crap. They don't really care about that shit. The only time they really care about anything like that is when something happens to them directly or indirectly. If something happens with them directly, or something happened with their kids, that's when they start to talk about it. If they have the experience, or something bad happens to them, that's when they talk about it. And even then, they won't consistently talk about it. They'll talk about it when they have to, or if you ask them something or whatever. But in the average woman, they're not really thinking like that. They're not thinking about really, they don't think about the big picture things. They don't think about anything socially that's going on in the community or going on in society. The average woman ain't thinking like that. They're very narrow thinking, socially and politically. Of course, there's always an exception to the rule. And you got these feminist groups out here today, whatever, that they're talking about they want women's rights. But that's a very small sector of women in American society today. Most women that claim to be so-called feminists, even a lot of these women, they're not hardcore feminists, all in with both feet. They might dip and dab, and some of the stuff they say, hey, yeah, I'm cool with that. But when a lot of these women talking about not having a man, that's when a lot of these women be like, oh no, I don't agree with all that. I don't know. See, a lot of these women, they want more women's rights. They want more opportunities, but they want a man too. Now these stone cold hardcore feminists, they don't want no man in their life. They don't want nothing to do with being married to no man. And that's where a lot of women pull out of there, because a lot of these women, they want a man. They don't want to be with another woman. That's the difference. So a lot of these women that's so-called feminists, I don't really pay them any attention, because I know it's a game that they're trying to play. Because I understand the nature of women. Really. I understand it. this is what confuses a lot of guys is they listen to what women say. And I always say you should take what women say with a grain of salt. Because at the end of the day, all women are the same. They might have grew up in a different environment. They might dress different, talk different hairstyle, different grain of hair. There might be some short, some tall, some fat, some skinny, and some in between. And some might speak a different language. Some might grow up in the city. Some might grow up in the country. Some might grow up in the province. Some might grow up in the suburbs. Some might grow up out in the boondocks. But at the end of the day, all behavior is controlled by the consequences, and the environment influences how women act and behave. And if they live in a big city, a lot of this is going to depend on their economic and political status, i.e., financial situation and money. That's what it's going to all boil down to at the end of the day. All this other crap where guys are saying, hey, if I'm gonna just date out, fuck black women, whatever. But the odds of you being successful approaching the other women with that attitude is highly unlikely that you have any type of success, really. Because if you approach other groups of women with that attitude, you're probably gonna fail miserably, and you're probably gonna get taken advantage of as well. Because these other groups of women, they don't, they think differently. They grew up differently. They don't think about good morals and good values, when they date and interact with men. That's the thing. And the reason why they're nice to you, just keep this in mind. The reason why they'll be nice to you, because the guys keep them in check, and the guys are in control or closer to the resources. That's it. Doesn't have anything to do with you as a man, really. That's the real deal, So I'm gonna say this one more time. Take this to your grave. If you can forget anything you want in this video, but remember this: all women are the same at the core, and all behaviors is controlled by consequences, and the environment influences how women act and behave and how they think. So if you like what you heard, subscribe to my channel, share this video with anybody, every man or woman that you know that would see it as value. Check out my blog, chooseyourrelationships.com. And if you got questions, I got answers. And P.S. and by the way, join my Players Club and buy my book by clicking the link below. So until next time, I'm out. Peace.